Finally, huh? I mean, it has been a minute. It's probably been like 4 or 5 months at least. But remember, I'm not monetized anymore. I don't monetize my videos because it's a joke. 1,000 views was getting me 70 cents. It's pointless. It doesn't even. I'd rather come on here and talk about what I want to talk about and not get shut down and my page erased, and just not make any money. It's fine. But I'm not going to do videos every single day. I realize that. It was a business decision. We're going to put a lot of time and effort into a YouTube page. Let's see where it takes us, and it took us nowhere. Besides for 1,500 subs, and maybe somebody learned a thing or two, and that's a good thing. And that's why I keep doing these videos. I'm also over 25K now, which is amazing. I've been struggling for about a year to get over 25K. I would get right to 24 and then something would happen. It was a shit show. But remember, the regulation on that, being under 25K, is a huge burden on retail investors because most people don't have 25K. And if you can't day trade, you're either stuck in a trade that you can't sell, or you buy something and then you see something, but you can't sell this one for that one because you can't day trade. It's a big problem. So being over 25K is huge for me. And that's why it's giving me the encouragement to start doing these videos again. Maybe not as often, but when there's something I got going on that looks really good, I'll put one out, and it'll be simple. It won't be long-winded. It won't be a bunch of different tickers to confuse everybody. We're sticking to a few good ones, and we're going to stick in them for a little bit longer, not just 15 minutes like I was doing before now. Health tip. Drink tea consistently. Don't drink coffee, even though coffee is fine. It's not unhealthy, so to speak. I drink pre-workout, so it's not like caffeine's a bad thing. But tea it hydrates you. Decaffeinated tea, it hydrates you. It makes you feel good. It makes you function correctly. Lemon, ginger, throw in some fine ingredients. No honey bullshit. Don't be putting in a bunch of sugar. Just have the nicest flavored, warm honey tea. I drink it all the time, day, night, morning. That's the health tip. Strength tip, bench more. If you're trying to get a bigger chest, you have to bench. You cannot do the bullshit, these things and all the other bullshit machines. No, you have to bench press. Because that's what I've been doing recently, and my chest is growing significantly. I'm up to 315 on bench, which I've never been able to do. I only weigh 180, so that's pretty intense, and everything has come because I've been benching. Decline, incline, and flat bench. It's the best thing you can do. Just bench. That's all you have to do for chest. That's the strength tip. January 6th, we'll talk about it real quick, because you've already heard about everything. You've already seen the tapes. I just can't believe that Joe Rogan comes out and is like, watching this, he's like, I can't believe my eyes. I can't believe that this actually happened. Because without these videos, I would have no idea. Are you blind? It's been obvious that was a sham. It's obvious that the government was doing that to say, look, citizens under a tyrannical government, if you want to actually change your government, because we know voting isn't going to change anything because we rigged the election, if you want to actually do something that's going to make change, aka throwing these bastards over, a real insurrection, then you're going to go to jail. You're going to go to jail for a long time. This is what's going to happen. You're going to be persecuted. You're going to be vilified. It's just trash. It was all a setup. I knew that from day one, just like I knew COVID was a scam from day one. January 6th was most obvious. And then you have these people coming online on MSNBC, CNN, it doesn't matter, Fox News, whatever. They're all bullshit. They're all playing for the same team. Coming on there crying and all dramatic. It's like, I cannot believe that more people did not see this from the jump. But we live in a boomer society where a bunch of 50-year-olds, yeah, for Israel, yeah, for democracy, yeah, for voting, yeah, the government just got to go with the GOP. It's really sad, and I don't want to get too deep into this. But January 6th was an obvious psyop by the government to keep people from doing that realistically, because we all know voting's out the window. Voting does not matter. It doesn't matter who you vote for. They choose. That's why I'm calling it now, and this is what I'll end on. Nikki Haley is going to be the next president of the United States. And by the way, if Trump becomes president, it doesn't matter with him either. He's owned by Jewish money. Every one of his real estate jobs is funded by Jewish money. Okay, he went and kissed the wall in Israel. He allowed the Fed Jews to print trillions of dollars over COVID, which basically ruined our economy. It wasn't Joe Biden. Stop with that bullshit. Joe Biden's just a retard. He couldn't even destroy the economy if he wanted to. He's just following orders. But so did Trump. From Jewish money. They print the money. They're the ones that control the narrative, the politics, the politicians. Look at what's happened with Jeffrey Epstein. That was Israeli, obviously. Enough. Nikki Haley will be the next president of the United States, guaranteed. She's the biggest Jew shill. And they're already putting her in front. They're already starting to be like, oh, Nikki Haley's coming up. Oh, yeah. Nikki Haley's your next president. And if we don't do anything soon, I mean, it's getting too far out of hand. I don't really have any faith for it, but we'll see what happens. Okay. Now, into the stocks. What's the stocks tip that I want to give because I only have 2 charts. So, it's not going to take me that long. Because remember, we don't need to do the DD. We don't need to know the financial statements when it's OTC. We don't need, unless we need to know what debt. We need to know, are they diluting? That's it. There's a few things that you really need to know. You don't need to dive deep because that creates a connection with the company where you're going to start to think, oh, maybe this is the next big thing. Oh, maybe the CEO is telling me the truth. No, it's all scam. Don't ever believe anything. I guess the tip that I would give is what has been helping me. Okay, I mean, this is going to sound simple and it's going to sound stupid, but the best thing you can do for your portfolio, no matter what the size is mitigate your risk and keep your downside small and keep your upside larger. That's it. That's what I've been doing. I have, since I've taken 13.5 about a month ago, and now it's almost at 30,000. Like I said, so I was able to do that. That's a significant increase, but it wasn't 200% in one stock, which can happen. But it was a lot of losses and a lot of gains. The difference is when I missed, I just immediately cut the loss. I didn't think about it. If it wasn't the bottom, I didn't say, well, maybe it's close to the bottom. I just said, bye. And if it ran on me, fine, that's okay. Because my losses when I was at 13.5 were between 150 and $300. Relative to my portfolio, that was good for me. That wasn't going to kill me. I wasn't going to have to climb back uphill to get back to where I was. 150 to 300 when I was at 13.5 was perfectly fine. Now that I'm up near 30,000, maybe my losses can go a little bit higher. Now, if I take a loss, it might be 800 to 1,000, which is, a lot more than 150 to 300. But relative to my entire portfolio, it's not going to be an uphill battle to get back to the price if I lose that money, if that makes sense. So and my gains, when I do hit and I'm like, okay, I figured it out here, I'm going to hold and I'm going to let this one give me a gain, have been 10,000, 8,000, 12,000, 5,000. They're bigger chunks. So I don't allow them to get, I'm not sitting there like, I need it to be 70 grand. But once it's at 10 grand, I'm like, oh, whoa, okay. I just bought one stock and I made $10,000. And if I sell that now and I've only been holding for 5 days, great. Some of it happened with BTS bets. I made 10 grand in 2 days. Great. I'm out. I'm holding on to that money. And then if I take some losses along the way, that's fine. That's how I've been able to triple my portfolio in a month. If I do that again, I'll be at 100K and I'm already well on my way. I'm feeling like I know what I'm doing. I'm comfortable. I'm calm because not all my money is invested in the market. I'm not over invested. I don't have my rent money on the line. So everything's going good on this side of things. I hope you guys have been doing good. Again, I'm going to be putting out a few videos, probably a week, maybe 1 or 2, depending. But here are my picks moving forward for this week. CRCW, let me move myself. And I'm like, I got rid of the green screen. I got rid of it was taking over my apartment. It was just too much. So now you're just going to have to deal with me sitting at a dining room table. I am going to be doing a new intro, so look forward to that. And I'm also going to not be wearing sweatshirts every time, but it's Sunday. I'm in slippers. I'm about to go get whatever I want to eat. Sometimes you do have to do that. You do have to splurge. I don't know if anybody even listens to this part. I don't know if any. I'm pretty sure everybody just skips to the stocks. Like, shut the fuck up. I want to know if the stock is going up or down, and that's fine. But again, this is my show, so some people watch it, and that's fine. I'm gonna just sit here and have a good time drinking my tea, trying to stay away from the alcohol, as we all should be doing. And okay, so we got CRCW. Look, I mean, this thing, before, when it first went, it popped to 15, kind of rode that line, and then just went bonkers. I guess, and there was enough volume too. I mean, there was enough where if you were accumulating on this line, you could have sold anywhere up here for like a 5x. You know, like this would have been a brilliant trade. 10x. I mean, it just ran really quickly. But remember, that was before they were diluting. This was kind of just like they let it go. They weren't diluting at this time. Then they started diluting. And then they've been diluting this entire time on this line, which happens to be the same line as here. So I like this setup. It's a huge pop, a huge drop, and then just slow accumulation underneath this middle orange band. If it gets above that, which I see it happening soon, it's actually coming down. You can see it keeps trying to get to that price and just, it's almost like it's a hidden hand, just keeping the price below that. So what happens when we get above that middle band? It seems to show explosion, a little bit of a moon boy bounce. So we got to get above 2 if we can, with this potential catalyst of Bitcoin doing an ETF. This is a crypto related. It's called the crypto company. So as long as crypto is moving, these crypto stocks are going to go. And that's why it's good to have something in crypto, even if it's not your entire portfolio. I don't hold crypto, so I do it through stocks. I always want to have, when crypto's running, you want to have something related. And I think CRCW, with the current market cap being under $1 million, I believe, they are diluting, but I think they let that go in a little bit. The CEO bought 130 million shares at 16, where the price is currently pretty much at. I got 4 million shares. I might add. We'll see. But I just think this is a good, solid pick. Remember, you don't need, I'm not sitting here and going to tell you, this is what they're doing with their mining operations and the way that their blockchain operates. Please, if you're watching this video and you're new, pay attention to what I'm saying, because it cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn this lesson when I first started. You do not trust in the storyline. You know the storyline because you trade according to it. If there's something coming out that's a major catalyst, and you know that that catalyst is set to come out in 2 weeks, you buy. You buy the rumor, and then when the rumor starts to develop and everybody's, this is the next big thing, then you sell it on them, because chances are, and I'd say 90% chance, that when that catalyst comes out, it's high, and that's when people sell the news. But with CRCW, if the price is low on a base at bottom and the news comes out, then people say, okay, I'm not getting this news at the top, I'm getting the news at the bottom. And that's when news causes the price to go up. We just saw it in niche and ICH. The news came out, it was at bottom, and it blew up. Now, if they would have put that news out like a catalyst that's expected after the price has already gone up 200% into that catalyst, then the people sell the news because the volume's there and it's already high. Okay. That's the way it's done. You either listen or you don't. That's up to you. Some people can hit big and they hold these type of stocks for 2 years and they do end up making money if they ever end up selling it. But that's just not my strategy. And I can promise you in the OTC, it's going to make you go broke. Looking for the next big thing, unless you get lucky and hit the lottery. Racker. Now this is my number 1 pick. I'm absolutely obsessed with this stock. One of the best, I think. I mean, I've been tracking this ever since this push. And so I didn't buy it on this, but I remember someone mentioning it and I just watched it. And then I grabbed some here and I ended up selling for a little bit of profit, nothing really. Kept watching, saw it come down here, and I was like, oh shit, they have a this is when something came out like oh, the date was extended or whatever. And it gave an actual date. It said January 22nd. That was like somewhere in here. So and this was, 14th of December. So I was like, all right, that's like over a month away. I'm not going to buy down here, but it would probably be smart too if you bought in this area, because you would have more of a gain than I do. But I actually waited. I didn't chase on this spike, but I was like, okay, this thing is going to start to heat up now. We're getting closer to the 22nd, comes down to this middle band. I see this. I bought it too originally, like right in here. Once I started to see this wedge breaking, if you can see, let me draw it on the, I'll have more time to actually do shit because, like, look, there's a clear falling wedge here. Like, it kept trying to get to here, and then there, and then there, and then here, it was like, no, we're going to go. And I knew that with the merger, this is a perfect setup, okay? What I'm showing you is exactly what you look for, and if you find something along these lines, you go big. This is when you go big. Not when you hear something on Twitter, on STOCKTWITS, and they're like, this is going to be a monster mo-ass squeeze. No, it's already squeezed. When people are saying that, trust me. But when you find something like this that you've been watching for a month, you have a perfect wedge. Look at this. I mean, it's a perfect downward wedge. Look at this. I mean, this is what you look for. And that's why I bought 5 million shares. I should have bought more, but I didn't want to chase because I bought it too. I thought I had more time. And then all of a sudden the price started to take off on me. I bought some at 25 and 28, 2 million up there. And I bought 3 million down there too. So my average is pretty good. It's probably like 23, somewhere in that range. And I'm in the money. I'm already up almost $10,000 again. And I think that tomorrow, remember the 22nd, if we look at do I have a calendar like easily on here? Yes, I do. No. Okay, hopefully you can see this. Hopefully this is recording, given that I haven't done this in a while, but we're on January, 7th? So we have this week, and then we have this week, okay? This is the date that they're saying. Now, what's going to cause this to go to 2 cents? That's my max gain. That's what I think is possible. We have 2 weeks to get there. The only way that that's going to happen is if they pump the price. If they start getting active on Twitter, which I have to look into today, let me know in the comments if you guys know more than I do. Do they have a Twitter? Do they talk on Twitter? Usually that's a good thing. If they start to come out and say, okay, we're on our way to Turkey. We just bought the plane tickets. The deal is set to be signed. Everything's going to plan. This is the amount of money that we intend to see in the future from this merger. Whatever. Any type of pump piece. Anything that's going to get the crowd going. Microcap Daily, which is I don't know if they're paid for, but either way, they write articles on stocks. They're starting to cover this. More eyes are coming on this. Nobody's even on, it's not even on the most read boards yet. That's a good indicator, because if it's not even there yet, chances are if it starts to creep up there, more eyes, more eyes, more eyes. I think tomorrow it starts. I think tomorrow is the ignition. I think that we see a 4 break, and I kind of want to pull this up. Let me see if this, no, it's not going to let me, I don't know why it's not letting me drag. Like, I want to pull this down to show you, because look, I mean, what I'm seeing here is this is what I'm seeing. These lines, we'll just do that for reference. And then get rid of this. Get out of here. All right, so basically along these lines, it tried to get, that's where I think we're going now, is I think we're going to the top of this line. So since I can't put up, you do your own thing, draw from these lines up. Where does it hit? That's where I think it's going for the initial push, around 6. Okay, so I think it's going to get 50% upside short term. Then we might see a little bit of a, now I could be wrong on this. Again, they could get to 6 and they put a tweet out that's like, we're on our way to Turkey, and it could be a whole different ballgame. Okay. But, that's where I'm going to take something. I got to take something there because I'm in at 2.2. I'm going to take something there. I know there's going to be other people taking things there. So I'm going to take my chance in selling some of my shares at that point, up at 6. Then we look for a pullback. Let's say it's overextended, maybe it comes back down to 3. Look, this was previous resistance, obviously right around here, 2.9, 3, 3.2, 3.5, 3.8. Somewhere in that range is what I'm going to plan to rebuy my flip shares with. Now, I'm always going to have a core. I'm going to hold half my shares and I'm going to flip the other half. Lock in some gains. If it pulls back, then I'll buy those flip shares in lower. Because, again, I think that this 6 is going to hit Monday or Tuesday. That still gives us Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's a lot of trading days to get back above 6. So I'm going to flip at 6. I'm going to try and get back in the 3s. And then I'm going to try and sell the peak leading into the merger. Do I think that the merger is going to go through? I'm not sure. I wouldn't bet my life on it. It's been extended a few times, so maybe they finally get it done this time. But it just depends. I can't read the future. All I know is when you see a chart like this that's breaking out of a downward wedge with a merger coming in a few weeks, it is almost a guarantee, no-brainer, that if you buy on the break of this downward wedge, you will see a very significant gain. So as long as it has the liquidity, as long as it has the money coming into it, which, I have 5 million shares, the money's not really, I would have to sell 1/4 of the entire, volume on Friday. But I guarantee you the volume is going to steadily rise. So that's where we're at. I think that this is probably the best pick, even for now. Pay attention to it. Even if you don't buy it, it's still something to keep on watch, because if it does have a pullback, you're going to want to get some of this before the final week leading into the merger, because all bets are off. We'll have to review it. I'll put a video out next week that's going to explain where we're at currently, and we'll go from there. But Racker seems like the best bet, in my opinion. Follow my Twitter, Peter_Penny1 on Twitter. I just started a new STOCKTWITS because I get suspended every other day. But just follow me on those things, because I did mention Racker at 2, and I mentioned other things that don't work out. But remember, when I'm mentioning things, it's not like to say, if I start going crazy on something like, hey, I'm loaded heavy, this is something that's perfect, blah, blah, and I'm going to hold it for multiple weeks, then maybe take my advice and look into it. But if I'm just calling things out on Twitter, they might work, they might not. They're more of like a let's see what happens trade, but I have a very tight stop. I'm watching it, and if it seems like it's breaking down, I'm out. So I don't want you to buy it thinking I'm like, oh, this is the next best thing, and the chart is perfect, and he's buying it, so it must be good. No, that's not always the case. But for something like this, if I start pushing it hard, it's probably because I'm thoroughly interested in holding for longer than a day. So that's my video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully it recorded, and it's good to be back. Leave me some comments. This went longer than I thought it would. I'll try and keep them a little bit tighter, but when I'm only doing 2 stocks, it allows me to say a lot more about the stocks that I'm talking about, instead of like just ranting and rambling about like 30 different stocks. It's too much. So we're rebranding. Again, look out for the new intro, and nice to be back.